Hi, my name is Layla, and I'm the owner and founder of mybabyinheaven.com, which is an online memorial for babies that are in heaven due to abortion or miscarriage. So, today I wanted to talk to you about something that the abortion industry doesn't talk to us about, and that is signs of post abortion trauma. Now, I have had 3 abortions and 1 miscarriage, and I had those abortions before I was a follower of Jesus Christ. So, I was very pro-choice, and I it even got to the point where I believe that, okay, worst case, I get pregnant, I can have an abortion. But during the time that I had those abortions, I was in a 7-year relationship where I had 2, and then after he and I break up, I get involved in another relationship. I ended up marrying him. But before I married him, I had an abortion with him. And the first boyfriend was unsupportive. He didn't want to have the baby, and I didn't think that I could be uh just a single mom, and I didn't really have faith in God to believe that He was going to take care of me through it. And of course, I was living a lifestyle contrary to the will of God because I didn't know God. So I made poor choices and decisions. I get pregnant, and I have 2 abortions with him. Then fast forward, I get involved in another relationship. I get pregnant again, and because I was unmarried, I whatever excuses I had in my head, it actually that is actually a sign also of trauma from abortions, is to have multiple abortions. And so I ended up having another abortion. I ended up marrying him. Fast forward, I ended up getting pregnant with twins, and then he passes away 11 and a half months later. So I was left as a single mom with 11 and a half month old twins. And I'm finding myself alone. I'm a widow, dealing with all of the grief. And then all of a sudden, the past trauma from these abortions started resurfacing, even though I had not thought about my abortions in so many years. It just, first of all, because I'm a born again Christian, I know that I'm already forgiven for those sins. So that was part of me thinking, okay, I'm forgiven, but I hadn't really gone through a healing process. And that's the thing. If you have had an abortion in the past, and if you haven't gone through a real process, like a healing process, even though, now let's say you are a born again Christian and you know that you're forgiven, it doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't some trauma there. Now, if you don't have faith and you're not thinking about it, you might also think, hey, that's perfect. I'm perfectly fine. I don't have any trauma there. So let me just read off some signs that you might have post abortion trauma. And first one is emotional distress. So that could be feelings of guilt or anger or sadness or grief, numbness, shame, or worthlessness. I have talked to different women that have had abortions, and one of the telltale signs that they probably haven't gone through a healing process is that they are quiet when they talk about it. They're not open about the abortion. Maybe they haven't even admitted the fact that they've had an abortion. And I think that is probably one of the biggest signs that you haven't gone through a healing process is secrecy. If you're still living in secrecy, you don't talk about it, you don't probably think about it, that is a sign of trauma. Another sign is if you haven't had a memorial or named your baby. And I know you're thinking, that's super crazy. I wouldn't even think about naming a baby. I had an abortion at 6 weeks or 8 weeks, or whenever you had your abortion and you think, well, if you had it at Planned Parenthood, they probably told you it was a clump of cells, just like they told me, and they're not truthful about it. But I had abortions either between 6 weeks to 8 weeks around there. So that was a developing little baby. And then if you just contrast that with me being pregnant with my twins, because I wanted to keep the babies a- after, actually, there's a little deeper story there. But when they were 6 weeks and 8 weeks and 10 weeks, I was considering myself pregnant with twins. So, what is the difference between my twins being 6 weeks in the womb or 8 weeks in the womb versus the 3 other babies, or 4 because I had a miscarriage? But let's say the 3 other babies at 6 weeks, 7 or 8 weeks in the womb. The only difference was my mind. that I didn't consider them a baby or didn't think about it, thought they were a clump of cells and didn't want the pregnancy, so terminated the pregnancy. But both of them I was with child in both scenarios. So fast forward now, going back to my story, God led me to not only get healing, but He gave me the name of my babies, which is why I say that there is a name. If you've had an abortion or miscarriage in the past, your baby has a name. If you haven't gone through a recovery series, just head over to my website, mybabyinheaven.com, and click on the recovery sign, the recovery tab, and you have a video course that you can go through or a little handbook that you can get to jot down your thoughts as you're going through the exercises. So, emotional distress. And number two is sleep disturbances. So, if you find yourself having nightmares or maybe insomnia, any disrupted sleep, self destructive behaviors like substance abuse, self punishing behaviors, or relationships with abusive partners, suicidal thoughts, relationship issues. Has your relationship changed after the abortion? Maybe you guys broke up. Maybe you're scared to get into another relationship, or also you might want to avoid being intimate or getting emotionally close. Maybe you feel like you're harboring a secret. Low self-esteem, maybe your self-esteem has decreased. Fear of pregnancy. I heard from different women, first of all, they have this guilt and this shame, so they feel that maybe they might be punished, like God is punishing them, so they might not go on to have other pregnancies in the future. Or I have heard of people think that maybe a future pregnancy might be cursed, for lack of a better word. Maybe there's going to be something wrong with that baby as a punishment because they had abortion, or maybe they don't feel worthy of having babies in the future because they've had abortions in the past. So there's all sorts of thoughts that come to women's minds about future pregnancy. Maybe flashbacks. Maybe you've had flashbacks of the abortion. Maybe wherever your clinic was where you had the abortion, you like to avoid. You don't want to go to that area because it gives you flashbacks. Perhaps sexual problems, including promiscuity. And I'm going to include again, if you have had multiple abortions, that's a sign of reliving the trauma. And maybe you've developed some eating disorders like anorexia or bulimia, maybe depression or anxiety. So, if you find yourself having any of these traumas or more, I really encourage you to go to mybabyinheaven.com and click on recovery. The thing is, with going through recovery, it's either held in a church or maybe a pregnancy clinic. You've got to look for one. You got to do them in person most of the time in groups. And if you can't accommodate your schedule to commit to the 4 week series or the 5 week series, or perhaps you don't feel ready to share this in front of a bunch of other women, and some of these organizations include men and women because men also experience trauma of their partners having gone through abortion for their own different reasons. That's why this course, and I didn't come up with this. I didn't come up with this website. I didn't come up with the name. This was all God given. I had a dream, and the very next morning after my dream, He gave me the name of the website. He also gave me the vision and the idea for it. He put the words together for this book and this video series. So you can watch the video series from the comfort of your own home. You can watch all of the videos. It's 5 videos. It'll probably take you about an hour, maybe, or less than an hour. So, no, I would say, let's say an hour, a couple hours, if you watch the series and take time to answer the questions and go through the exercises. Or you can just watch one video a week and take that time of that week to think about it, go through it, take your time, but at least you're doing it from the comfort of your own home. And then I created a handbook. And with that handbook, you can answer the questions. And then if you want, toss the book when you're done. It's a small little handbook, or you can put it aside and keep it for yourself. Then, after you go through the series, you have an option of adding your baby's name to the online memorial. So, if you go on the website, click on memorial, you can upload your baby's name there. And then I'll mail you a certificate of life. If you provide your address, you can leave that anonymous. But if you provide your address, I'm going to send you a certificate of life recognizing the life of your baby. So you could also reach out to me on my social media. If you just the simple way is to go on my website, mybabyinheaven.com. And on the top right corner, there's the icons connecting to the other social media sites where you can find me. So if you have any questions or if you want to reach out, please, I would appreciate you can reach out to me. You can message me through the website or on my social media, and I'll be happy to connect and help you in any way that I can. Thank you so much.